Police are investigating an apparent murder-suicide that happened in a hospital parking lot. We'll have the latest information. And what was Hurricane Debbie has slowed down, but the impact still looms large for many southeastern U.S. communities. We'll have the latest on the storm.
And temperatures are still in the 90s, but relief is on the way, and I'll tell you when in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
2 people were recently found dead in a southern Kentucky hospital parking lot. Police in Corbin believe it was a murder-suicide, but a lot of questions remain. WYNT's Phil Pimpleton spoke to investigators about the strange case.
Police here in Corbin say this is a very unusual case. What started was the discovery of 2 people inside a van at the Baptist Health Hospital in Corbin on Friday night, very late, sometime after 11 o'clock when hospital security was making their rounds. Then they discovered that it was actually 2 people dead inside a van. A murder-suicide was their cause of death, but still a lot of questions regarding the circumstances that led up to their deaths.
We would like to just talk to anyone that had contact with them that day or the days leading up to this to maybe see if we can determine the mental state of the subjects or see if maybe they had some underlying issues going on that would help us kind of get a motive for this.
Police say it's not clear why the hospital was chosen for this. Investigators say they believe 39-year-old Michael Salisbury shot 35-year-old Shonda Parker and then turned the gun on himself. Police say both were shot in the head. The 2 had children in common and had been in a relationship. Police say that it's not clear why the hospital was chosen for this, why one of these individuals chose this area to take a life, then take their own life. Police say they were simply notified by hospital security, who was notified by a passerby who saw the 2 people slumped over, notified them, and then police started their investigation. In Corbin, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Police say they were able to use social media to locate Salisbury's family.
Well, we're seeing plenty of sunshine out there, maybe a little bit of cloud cover across portions of eastern Kentucky, but definitely need the sunglasses if you have to go out for the next couple hours, as it is nice and bright outside, and right now it's also hot. Temperatures are in the low 90s across the area with the exception of Wise. 82 degrees is the current temperature there. 90 in Hazard, 90 London, 89 in Monticello. Monticello right now, the feels like temperature 106. 94 in Jackson, 94 Prestonsburg, 102 in Ashland, 95 Manchester, 95 in Harlan, as well as Jonesville. If you have to be outdoors for the next couple hours, please make sure you stay hydrated. We have a clean sweep on live pinpoint Doppler radar, and this will get a break tonight and for the most part tomorrow morning. It's when we get into the afternoon and early evening hours that shower chances will start to pick up. But when you wake up in the morning, we'll see temperatures in the low to mid 60s from Clintwood to Pikeville, upper 60s from Logan to Jackson, up to Moorhead, and then Jacksboro up to Somerset. We'll see temperatures in the upper 60s. Now, there is some relief somewhere in the forecast, which will drop the temperatures to what will, I guess, kind of feel like fall. We'll talk about that in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. As Debbie slowly makes its way up the East Coast, the once hurricane is dropping historic levels of rain on coastal communities big and small, and the threat is expected to last for days. CBS's Christian Benavidez reports from Savannah, Georgia.
Debbie flooded streets, knocked out power, and damaged oceanfront homes in Edisto Beach, South Carolina.
I mean, it is kind of crazy to see a storm hit like this. Never really seen roads this flooded before.
The storm lashed Charleston overnight with sheets of unrelenting rain. And with many roads underwater and more rain expected, the mayor has extended a citywide curfew until Wednesday morning.
I know this is frustrating to some. The reality is that nobody should be out on the streets in these conditions.
Debbie is still causing problems in Georgia. There are plenty of flooded streets, and about 47,000 people began the day with no power. The governor says another 4 inches of rain could soak residents, up to 8 in some areas. He's warning everyone to stay diligent.
Do not let this storm lull you to sleep, as a lot of affected areas right now are not experiencing rain and high winds. But both models are showing that rain will come back.
Here in Savannah, Georgia, cleanup is underway. This tree was uprooted as we felt the worst of the storm overnight. It fell on this home. A woman and her 4 children were inside.
It was out of my hands and everybody else's hands, you know. It's nature, but it's still like moving forward. What do I do?
At the airports in Debbie's path, it's been a rough start to the week. On Monday, nearly 1,900 flights were canceled. And with more delays inevitable today, the airlines have all issued travel alerts for many airports in the southeast. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Savannah, Georgia.
Lebanon's armed group Hezbollah launched a series of drone and rocket attacks into northern Israel. Leaders warned the much anticipated retaliation for Israel's killing of a top commander last week was still yet to come. Hezbollah said it launched a swarm of attack drones at 2 military sites near Acre in northern Israel and also attacked an Israeli military vehicle in another location. Volunteers are training to protect the skies over Ukraine on the ground. The Mobile Air Defense Unit is unlike others. It's made up exclusively of women. They call themselves the Witches of Bucha, a nod to the town where dozens of bodies were found after a brutal Russian occupation. These women now support Bucha's defense, replacing the men drafted to serve. Many here have deep personal reasons for joining the fight.
My husband and my husband's brother were killed in March 2022. My property is destroyed. My mother got sick and couldn't take it all and died too. Since June 22, my nephew has been missing in action.
Changed by the loss and pain of war, Tatiana's goal is to shoot down a Russian drone. Several U.S. personnel were injured in a suspected rocket attack at a coalition forces air base in Iraq. That's according to a defense official. The Defense Department blames Iran-aligned militia groups for Monday's attack at Al-Assad Air Base. The Iraqi military says 2 rockets had been launched from a nearby vehicle. It intercepted the vehicle, which had 8 more rockets being prepared for launch. The Iraqi military says it is searching for the perpetrators. 3 people were injured in Texas after they used bathrooms that had explosives hidden under the toilet seats. It happened last month at 2 car washes in San Antonio. Police say Paul Moses Alden booby-trapped the toilet seats with commercial fireworks that are designed to explode when pressure is applied. He is now facing a charge of arson with bodily injury. Coming up on First at 4, some tips on how you can manage credit card debt right now.
Oh boy. The heat continues as we go into the day on Wednesday. There is relief on the way and a taste of fall, aka football weather is in the forecast. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Stay with us.